Good morning, students. Today we discuss about 11th commerce, new chapter, warehousing. First we discuss the meaning of warehousing. A warehouse is a commercial building for storage of goods. So warehouse is a place to store the product in order to consume the product and in order to send the product to the consumption place at right time. So stored goods can include any raw materials, packing materials, spare parts, components or finished goods associated with agriculture, manufacturing and production. So not only to store the product in the warehouse, but also we done some additional work in order to packing and maintain the finished goods from the deteriorations while storing the product. So the term ware means product or goods. Warehousing generally means storage place or godown which is located near a factory to keep the raw materials and finished goods properly. So storage is only a holding place of goods, whereas warehouse is located near the market to perform the other marketing functions such as grading, sanitizing, packing, etc. So warehouse is one of the place not to store the goods, and it will help to distribute the product to the various places. Next, various types of warehouses. There are various types of warehouses based upon first ownership. There are different types of warehouses: private warehouse, government warehouse, public warehouse, cooperative warehouse, bonded warehouse, institutional warehouse, distribution center warehouse. On the basis of commodities, general warehouse, special commodity warehouse, cold storage and climate controlled warehouse. First we discuss about the types of warehouse on the basis of ownership. Private warehouses are built and owned by private business enterprises in order to store the product produced by them. They are exclusively for their use and not meant for other manufacturer products in their place. Government warehouse means they are created and operated by the government to implement program of the government. Their service mostly available to government, and a detailed study on all the above warehouses is given at the end of these chapters. Public warehouses. It is open for public at large. Most of the business organizations, especially small and medium scale units, offered to their own warehouses. So they may be owned by an individual or some agencies. So this type of public warehouses are established in order to store the product which are produced by the different manufacturers, and these warehouses operate as per the rules and regulations of the government. Cooperative warehouses. There are warehouses owned and managed by the marketing cooperative societies or agricultural cooperative societies. They are set up to provide warehouse facility to their members, not open to all. So the member which are produce the product, they can store the product in the cooperative warehouse. Mostly the farmers, they can become a member in these cooperative warehouses and they can store their produce safely. Bonded warehouses. Bonded warehouses are those which are licensed by the government to accept the storage of imported goods which are not cleared due to non-payment of custom duty by the importer. So this type of warehouses store the product from the various manufacturers. Until that, they can store the product in order to keep the product safely, and they can collect the custom duty charges. Otherwise, they can not clear the product from the bonded warehouse. Next, institutional warehouses. Different institutions and bodies have their own warehouses on account of the nature of their operations. For example, bank, railways and other institutions, they can have their own warehouses and they can store the materials and product in their godown. So various transport agencies also maintain warehouses for storing the goods which are to be dispatched. Distribution center warehouses. Goods which need to be temporarily stored for 1 or more days so that they can be distributed to other offices or customers are stored in distribution center. On the basis of commodity stored, general warehouses. There are ordinary warehouses which are useful to storing most of the dry food grains, fertilizers, etc. So protective measures against rat, insect, etc. in order to store the product. So they can make safety of the product with the insects in the case of general warehouses. Next is special commodity warehouses. These warehouses are specially constructed for storing specific type of commodities like tobacco, cotton, wool. Because of not to increase the quality and the price of the product, it can be stored in the special commodity warehouses. So these warehouses reduce loss of quality and quantity to a great extent. So storage of petrol and oil requires special type of vertical cylindrical storage tank. Cold storage or refrigerated warehouses. Goods are transported in refrigerated containers and stored in refrigerated warehouses. These warehouses are used for storing perishable items like fruits, vegetables, eggs, etc. So in this cold storage, goods stored in cold storage without deterioration quality can be made available throughout the year. Climate controlled warehouses. The controlled climate environment can reduce the rate of metabolism in fruits and vegetables. So humidity controlled environment for delicate products such as flowers in dirt-free fertilizers in these warehouses. Automated warehouses. Automated facilities which can be handled several hundreds of kilometers of product at a time inside the warehouses premises. Physical distribution activities and carried out by moving product filled pallets. It requires huge investments, latest technologies and large turnover of goods. And then we discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of warehouses. It safeguards the stock of merchant which do not have storing place. So warehouse will help the business people, those who are not having the storing place, they can store the product in the warehouse. So the warehouse helps the producer in order to store the product, those who are not having their own warehouse. So warehouses reduce distribution cost of the traders by storing the goods in bulk and allow the trader to take the goods in small lots whenever they need. It helps in selection of channel of distribution. The producer will prefer whether to appoint a wholesaler or retailer. So with the help of the warehouse, they can make a quality of the product and to select the channel of distribution. It assists in maintaining the continuous sales and avoid the possibilities of out of stock position. So warehouse will help the business people to make sale continuously and they can avoid out of stock position. They can continuously supply the goods to the market with the help of the warehouse. It creates employment opportunities for both skilled and unskilled workers to improve their standard of living conditions. Even though there are advantages of warehouses, there may be some drawbacks. That is, there are no adequate transport facilities between the place of production and warehouses. Because of warehousing place sometimes far away from the production place and market, so we need transport facilities. Lack of sufficient storage facilities for different commodities such as perishable and non-perishable commodities. So warehouse facility will be needed for both perishable and non-perishable items. So sometimes if we cannot be able to store the perishable items with the help of their own warehouses, so it is most difficult to store this type of product. Complicated formalities are to be fulfilled at the warehouses. The illiterate and innocent farmers are not able to cope with these procedures. So in order to store the product in the warehouse, there is some procedure to be fulfilled by the business people and the person who are produce the product. So mostly the illiterate and innocent farmer, they may not be able to fulfill all the formalities. So it is difficult for them to store the goods in the warehouse. Complicated process of barcode technology can reduce the storing of goods by some producers. Next, warehouse documents. There are various documents which can be used in the storing process. Warehouse warrant. It is a document issued in favor of the owner of the product or depositor of the goods in the warehouse. So it can be issued by the warehouse keeper, and it is one of the document of title of goods and can be transferred by simple endorsement and take delivery of the goods. To transfer all the goods, the warehouse warrant is enough, but if you want to take delivery of the goods partly, delivery order will be needed not to take delivery of the goods from the warehouse. Warehouse keeper's receipt. It is also a document issued by the warehouse keeper which acknowledges the receipt of goods from the depositor. So it is also shows as existence of an agreement between the owner of the product and the warehouse keeper, and it is not a document of title of goods and it cannot be transferable. There are some difference between warehouse warrant and warehouse receipt. Warehouse warrant is a document of title goods, but warehouse receipt is not a document of title goods. It is not only an acknowledgement of the receipt of the goods but also used to take delivery of the goods in lump sum. But the warehouse receipt, it is only an acknowledgement and not be used to take delivery of the goods. We can use delivery order not to take delivery of the product. In the case of warehouse warrant, it can be negotiated or transferred to others by mere endorsement. But a warehouse receipt cannot be used as a transferable document. It cannot be transferred to others. Warehouse warrant is given as a collateral security for getting financial assistance from the financial concern. But a warehouse receipt cannot be used as a collateral security. Delivery of the goods is effected by surrendering the warehouse warrant with endorsement. But in the case of warehouse receipt, we can use delivery order separately in order to take delivery of the goods. Next, dock warrant. Dock is a place in the harbor where the goods are kept for loading into the ship. So dock warrant is a document of title of goods which can be issued by the dock authorities, and this document certifies that the dock authorities hold the goods. In order to take delivery of the goods, a certificate should be given back to the dock authorities. Dock receipt. Dock receipt is also an acknowledgement of receipt of goods issued by the dock authorities to the owner of the goods, but it is not a document of title goods. Therefore, the right of taking of delivery of goods cannot be transferred. Delivery order. This is a document through which the depositor directs the warehouse keeper to deliver the specified goods either to the party mentioned in the document or to the bearer, those who are holding the delivery order. So the warehouse keeper delivered the goods as per the instruction given. So these are some of the documents which can be used for warehousing process. So students, you can go through all the points which are taught in this video and you can write all the answers in your assignment notebook and bring it school for correction. Don't remember to send a task complete message in the group in the evening. Thank you.